All right, cuz. I want to ask like I always do. Do you have any lyrics? It's time to say goodbye. Oh man, why do I say goodbye? No, it's time to say hello to the number 2 podcast.
Because how could you do this? It's our 10th episode.
It's time to say hello to the number 2 podcast with number 2 cousin, me, her favorite cousin. I'm sure I'm your favorite, even though I don't know for sure. But I'm gonna tell people that you're the number 2. Number 2 podcast with number 2 cuz and me and the rest of the family when we can get them on the show to come and talk with us about our day. Alright. I guess that's it for now. I mean, it's oof. We've had better intros, but whatever.
I think, yeah. I think we got a little excited there, too.
I think maybe so, yeah.
I feel the enthusiasm in the air.
The enthusiasm in the air.
Whatever. Oh, because I think we need to go over some disclosures.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, this is the number 2 podcast. We're a family show, but from an adult point of view. We sometimes talk about adult situations, and very often we use adult language. So this definitely is not suitable for every age. So if you got kids listening, maybe send them out of the room or ask them to ride on the roof of the car while you listen to this.
That's a good idea, or even put them in the trunk.
Put them in the trunk. That's probably safer.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to add that I don't want to make anybody mad, both my family and my friends. That's it.
It's a great beginning of the show, cuz.
I know. But I think we had some interesting topics to talk about today.
Oh, yeah? What do you want to start with first?
I think something that's been weighing heavy on your heart and mind.
Are you talking about my cholesterol?
Well, that possibly, we can get into that.
No, I'm good as far as I know, because I haven't had it checked.
Oh.
So it's fine.
You need to get that checked.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, then good. So that's not it. I think what's been weighing heavy on your heart and mind is for us to just get off our chest the absolute worst job that we've had. Is that not what it is?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I have a couple of bad jobs. I've had, well, do you know what your worst job was that you ever had?
I think I can agree with you. I've had about 2 worse.
All right, well, let's see. There was a time that I sold shoes at a store called Wieners. What the hell was that? Don't fake laugh for me.
Wieners, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't say that was the worst job, but I did get a lot of Al Bundy jokes, and everyone thought they were the first one to make the Al Bundy joke. And let's see. Then I worked for a big box retail electronics store, but I got a great discount there, so I wouldn't say that was the worst. Probably the first worst job I had was working for the post office.
Did you go postal?
I could have.
Thank goodness you didn't.
Yeah, really. But I can see how people could. That it was just such a soul-sucking job that just was so monotonous. You did the same thing over and over and over, and you just had to you had to get your work done in a certain amount of time, and they were just like ride you about that. Oh, and it was I did data entry, so I didn't have to deliver the mail. Although I did deliver the mail, which might be even worse than this. So I'll go with that one. When I delivered the mail, the first time I delivered on my own, my supervisor was following me, and he was in his air-conditioned station wagon postal vehicle while I was out in the heat. Now, let me tell you, The Texas sun is very unforgiving, as I'm sure you know. I mean, you've grown up in Texas too.
Yeah.
So I was completely unprepared for what the job was going to require. I didn't bring enough water and I got dehydrated. So my leg muscles started to cramp up on me. And I'm in the middle of somebody's yard and I'm using their lamp post that they have in the yard for security light. I'm using that to try and stretch my calf muscles because they're cramping up on me. Literally, like I can see the muscle cramping in my leg.
Uh,
And my supervisor's honking at me, telling me to hurry up. So I grab. Oh, I'm serious. This is
sorry,
no
I'm
lie.
so sorry.
No,
I
I'm
would have
not
been
lying.
like, F off, you
I was
dirty
close.
bastard.
I've been close. So I I keep moving and I grab a bundle of mail and I don't know whose hands these bundles were designed for, but I got like little girl hands evidently. Pick up this bundle of mail and cuz I swear to you, if you had seen this in a movie, you'd think this is such lazy writing. But I'm walking with this bundle of mail and it just flies out of my hand like a deck of cards, like when you go with a deck of cards and they fly everywhere. That's what the mail did. And my supervisor yells at me from the car, and then he comes to help me pick it up, and he's like, "You know what? This is going to take too long to fix. Just go on to your next route." Now, this was day one on my own after training. What an
No,
impression to make! And it just
that
went.
was a sign.
It was, and it went downhill from there. I didn't last very long, and the day I quit, even as bad as I was delivering mail, they were so desperate. The day I quit, they asked me if I could at least deliver the mail for that day before I quit. And I was like, "I can't.
So,
I'm sorry. This is it. I'm done." That
yeah, they
was
should have been apologizing to you.
No, so that was one of my worst jobs. What about you?
Um, One was probably the most recent place that I worked for. It was a trailer place. They sold horse trailers. I have to kind of agree with what you said. It's like not so much the absolute worst place. I think it was more of like the work environment because I think the pay was actually, honestly, I think I was paid too much for what he wanted me to do.
I have never had
Um,
a job where I felt like I was paid too much.
for what he wanted me to do.
I
Now, I
even
felt like
still,
I felt like he couldn't pay me enough to put up with some of the people in that building. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, I get it.
I was in an
So your
office,
job was
probably,
easy, but the people you work with were terrible.
yeah,
Been there. Go for
and
it.
yeah, it was more of a family-owned type business. So most of the places that I've worked for have been more like corporate type settings where they're either developing and they have policy and procedures and structure and whatever. And this place didn't. But I sat in an office probably the size of not a very big room. It was a small office, and he fit two full size desks in there. And I had to listen for about 6 months. The ugliest, most negative attitude in person just on almost every single day how miserable she was with mainly just her work and not being happy where she was at.
Shit.
And finally, I was like,
Well, because that sounded like me when I was working for the post office.
no, I mean, but you were in a big room with however many, what, hundreds of people?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in an office, okay, with, you know, one room, and I had to listen to it every single day. And then I'd watch her turn her little switch and become a nice, respectful person when the owner would come in. Two faced, completely two faced, and complain about how he doesn't pay her. It was just, ugh. And then
You should have been complaining, man, he's paying me too much for this. I feel so bad. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this money.
when I left, I did tell him, I'm like, honestly, that position, if you do replace it, that for what you want them to do should not be paid that amount of money.
I'm glad you waited till you left.
But really, honestly, I had to pray each time I'd open that door and put my hand on the door to open it. I would pray, like, God, please. And anyway, that
Yeah.
was the worst place I think that I worked.
Yeah,
Worst work environment, I should say.
yeah, I would pray too. When I was doing data entry at the post office before I delivered mail, I would pray on my way because I could feel a physical change happening when I would enter that building. I was okay outside, and as soon as I came in, I just felt like a different person, much weaker, sick, headache. Maybe they had asbestos.
Hey, you need to go see an attorney.
No, I'm fine.
No, I with that job, it got it was just bad. I lost my train of thought. I was
It
gonna
was
say something
bad,
really
Pee
good.
Wee,
I was gonna
real
say,
bad. All right, so let's talk about your big butt.
oh, speaking of big butts,
Yeah, I like him, and I can't lie.
well, I don't really have a big butt because if anything, I don't really believe in like cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either.
But
Oh no,
if I was to ever, I'm going to go off topic because I
go
know we
for it.
weren't planning on talking about this, but a couple years ago, Angie, who is Phoebe's girlfriend,
So she's
um,
kind of your
gay.
sister-in-law.
Yes, my sister. I said gay.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah, she's with your sister, and she's a woman. I guess that makes her gay. I never thought about that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, cuz my favorite cousin is gay.
Oh, I know. I'm so sorry that you had to find out this
So
way.
sorry. This is the greatest day of my life. I have a gay family member.
Yes. So I forgot what I was going to. Oh, anyway, so a couple years ago, Angie was working for a surgical hospital, and they were running a
Wait, you're telling me she was working for a hospital that did surgeries?
cosmetic
Oh, okay.
surgical hospital. I'm sorry. Anyway, so they were doing a trial run on some medicine or doing some study, and they were needing patients that qualified to do uh, tummy tucks, mini tummy tucks.
Yeah,
So
if I had a tummy tuck, I'd have to have many tummy tucks.
that's
What?
so funny. Well, this is funny because our initial, our initial, I guess, evaluation that we went to, Andrea and I went, my other older sister, and we didn't qualify for the mini. And I'm like, what the hell? And
Good.
you got to be like freaking skinny and bone with no, maybe like a pinch of fat on you.
What they say, you don't qualify for the mini, you need the maxi tummy tuck.
No, they were basically they were like, no, you need a full tummy tuck.
Oh,
I was
shit, I
like,
was
no
just joking.
shit.
Damn.
No, they did, and I was like, okay. So they didn't have enough. They couldn't find enough qualified candidates to do that. So they ended up calling me back, and I was like, no, I'm not driving to Houston again.
You were like, fuck you, you didn't like me the first time. I don't want you to like me now.
So
You
I
only want
got
me
to,
because you can't have me.
yeah. So I got to thinking about it. And I'm thinking, if I was to do a tummy tuck, my stretch marks would be gone, which physically, looking at that, that's not a bad thing. But then I was like, no, but those are my kids' marks. I
Yeah, but
felt
they're
like there's some,
ugly.
they are,
Not
but I
your
don't,
kids.
so I was like, no, I don't want to do a tummy tuck because where would I show? I would never wear a bikini.
Thank God.
I know, but I mean, I'd have a flat stomach with no stretch marks.
Well, did you talk to your husband about it? Maybe he wants you to have a flat stomach with no stretch marks.
He does because he was like, "Oh, are you gonna go do that?" He not once tried to talk me out of it. I was
Oh,
like, "Well, I know how you feel about my flabby stretch mark
oh,
stomach."
come on.
Anyway,
Cut him some slack.
cut him something else. Anyway, so if I ever did any type of cosmetic surgeries, I think it would be on my butt.
Well, hey, you just got to talking about a tummy tuck out of nowhere. It would be on my butt. You don't
Yeah,
like
well,
you don't like
I'm
your
gonna
kid's
keep.
stretch marks on your butt.
No, it would be like butt implants.
Oh, come on, cuz just do some squats or something. Don't
You do some
I
squats.
need to, but my knees, oh
I
my
haven't.
goodness.
I have an anal fissure.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't be doing squats right now.
I can't do anything.
Just real quick, because it grosses me out sometimes. How's the
Wait,
anal fissure?
it's good, but I want to show you this
No,
before
don't show. Oh, I thought you. I thought- what are you going to show
what
me?
what I'm showing. Can you see this?
Yeah, it's a pink bowl-looking thing. Is that a hat? Cowboy hat?
Well, that's what my mother-in-law and Louise thought, but no, it's not a hat. It's a sitz bath seat,
Oh,
and it has this IV-looking bag
did
with
you say
it.
it's a shits seat? Shits bath seat?
It's a sitz,
Oh, a sit.
SITC. Mhm.
F as in Frank.
S as in Sam.
S as in shit. Okay, it's a sits bath seat. So is that so you don't have to
Yes,
fill up the whole tub?
yes, and I can
Oh,
just sit this sitz bath
you can sit in your sits bath without
on
sitting
on
in
the
a.
commode, and I can sit in it.
Oh, on the toilet. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, oh, wow. Okay, I just had an image. So I think they want you to sit on the toilet so that it opens up a little bit more.
No.
Oh, I'm way off.
They
Listen,
want you
cuz,
to sit in it because, like, I'm supposed to put my Epsom salt in hot water,
all
and
right,
it's supposed to be easier, more convenient.
okay. All right.
That was just the update. Okay.
Update, good. All right. So you're getting better though.
Yes.
All right, good. All right.
Praise the
Well,
Lord.
I have another job to talk about, but I don't know if I want to talk about it.
Well, how are we gonna know if you, I mean,
All right. Well, I'll talk
you
about
need
that.
some,
I'll talk about that, but first I want to talk about this from the last episode.
okay.
Tell me if you can hear this.
I seen man boobies. They were big. Is that me?
I don't know. Does this voice sound familiar?
I seen man boobies. They were big. I sound suspicious. I seen man boobies. They were big.
What were you talking about there?
I seen man boobies. They were big. Well, to be honest,
Yes.
you put me on the spot, and
Well,
then I was caught completely off guard. I was not prepared. It was one of our first, it was the first Skype video that we were doing. And yeah,
yeah, what?
I didn't know that you weren't going to have a shirt on.
Well,
And
it's
then,
early in the morning. I had just gotten up.
but we were already recording.
Oh, wait,
And that,
no. It wasn't early in the morning. It was later in the evening. It was later in the evening. I was getting comfortable.
it was kind of funny because it's like you didn't think about it, I guess, because you're so used to being topless.
Well, in my bedroom, yeah. Excuse me. In my studio, yes.
So, yeah, I was just caught a little off guard and it came out. But I said it so fast and low, like hoping no one would hear me.
Oh, no one can hear this?
I seen man boobies. They were big.
I mean, you took a whispery tone, but you said it loud enough for it to pick up. I mean, I got that loud and clear.
Well, I apologize to you and to all of our listeners.
So I guess if I were to have cosmetic surgery, it would be on my ass too, because I don't have an ass either. But I want real muscle back there because I want to be able to. I want that fast twitch muscle so I can move fast and like just be powerful and be able.
Twerk?
No, not to twerk, just so I can pick somebody up and slam them on the ground if I ever need to.
You use your butt muscles for that?
Well, when you squat to pick somebody up and then you lift them up with your legs, you're going to need some ass muscle to help support that.
That would definitely bring down my hemorrhoids.
Oh, I'm so sorry, because. All right, so I guess the list of things for me to feel bad about today are my man boobies.
Are we talking about things that make us feel bad?
No, 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 no. I'm just putting that on my list.
Okay.
You know, but that does remind me. I did something a couple days ago that I felt kind of bad about, but I'm okay now because I checked on it.
Do you want to,
I'm,
elaborate a little bit?
yeah, I'm waiting on you to ask me.
Oh, okay. What was that, cuz?
Well, I guess this can lead into some Facebook news. I got some news, and it's all from the Facebook. Remember, I tagged you in a picture that our cousin posted.
Yes, you did.
Yes, and the image said, I bet you won't share this because you are too embarrassed to have Jesus on your wall. And it's a guy with a cloak and a beard. He looks kind of like Jesus to someone who doesn't know who Ewan McGregor is and has never seen Star Wars episodes one, two, and three, because it's a picture of Ewan McGregor when he played Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars. And I tagged you in it. I tagged your mom, and I tagged your sister Andrea because she liked the photo because she's super religious. And Julie, our cousin who posted this, is religious. And I posted some pictures of him with his lightsaber, some other promotional photos. And then afterwards, I felt kind of bad because Marcella, our aunt, who is going through treatment right now for cancer, is Julie's mom. So I know Julie's really stressed out. But I just, I thought it was funny, and I thought she might find some humor in it. But then I got nervous afterwards. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want her to think I'm making fun of her. So, as per your suggestion, I called her just to make sure, and we got to talk a little bit that night. She filled me in on everything that's going on with her mom, and she said that it was embarrassing, but she did get a good laugh at it, and it she did need that laugh. So I'm glad that my sarcastic humor, my acerbic wit, was able to help bring a little bit of levity to an otherwise somber situation.
I think Julie has a very uh, open mind and I think a very good sense of humor. And I would have been the same way. I would have initially been like, "Oh man, I'm so embarrassed." But like I said, she does. I mean, she has such a good heart that you know
Yeah, and she said, "Well, maybe I should watch Star Wars." LOL. I said, "Yeah, definitely you should watch Star Wars, but not these. Watch the good ones."
because when I seen the post, not what you tagged me in, but when I seen her post, I was like, I don't know. I come up with the Star Wars post. But I didn't say anything because I'm not a Star Wars. I don't want to say Star Wars fan. I've never really watched it, so
And
I
that's
guess
a sin
I'm
on your
not.
soul. No, when I was talking,
Maybe
yeah, when I was
maybe
talking,
that's why they did that picture of him.
no,
Jesus.
when I was talking to her, she said when she saw the picture, she said, "Oh, that's a handsome Jesus. Yeah, I'll post that."
Oh my god.
So he's either Obi Wan Kenobi or handsome Jesus.
Well, Jesus is in all of us, so
I don't know what that means.
well, he could be in him
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm sure he is.
anyway. Yeah, that's funny. I have to be real careful because I see a lot of those posts on Facebook
Yeah,
of like, if you're not ashamed, put Jesus on your wall, post, amen, um, or send this to 300 people, or and Jesus will bless you with
yeah.
whatever.
I
And
don't. That's like chain letter stuff. I don't. It's
yeah, I'm just like, I get it. It's your own personal, you know, you want to believe that may help people in a time of need. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You know
But
what? I'm gonna post a picture. I'll Photoshop this because I don't want to. I don't want to pay for the wall that in the house that I just rent from. But I'm gonna make it look like I painted a picture of Jesus on my wall and put. I bet you're too embarrassed to put Jesus on your wall. And then I'll ask people to post pictures of their walls that they painted Jesus on. Is that too
because
far?
yeah, I think so.
Oh man, do I have to go to confession now?
I think so. 'Cause I'm looking around in my room and I have like crosses and
I have a crucifix, but I didn't hang it on my wall because again, I didn't want to put a hole in the wall that I'd have to worry about when I move out.
I think that's an excuse. They sell those hanging things where you don't even have to like they sell like sticky glue stuff that holds up a whole you could put a house together with
And
nothing but
so when I pull it
those.
off the wall, it's going to take a chunk of paint with it and maybe a piece of the wall because I have nothing on my walls.
Is that like a rule of the house?
No, that's just my rule because I don't want to pay anything extra if I ever have to move out.
You mean like a deposit?
Yes, I mean exactly like a deposit.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. I can't say anything. This is my house too, and Luis gets mad when I move something. And I moved my dresser to fit my little, workstation here.
You mean your
And when
studio?
yeah, so when I moved my dresser over about a good 2 feet over,
Oh.
maybe a little less. Apparently, there was something hanging on the wall before because there's two holes. Not holes, but like you said, missing chunks of paint and something
Oh, I
else.
see.
I'm gonna have to do something about that. I know. I'll just find another crucifix or
Yeah,
Jesus picture and
get you
put
a
it in
yeah,
there.
paint Jesus on your wall and then post it on Facebook.
This is so bad.
It
Okay, let's
is.
move on.
Yeah, I can go back and tell the other terrible job I had.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Tell us.
Wait, do you have any more terrible jobs? Or was that your
I
worst
worked
one?
at when I was about 15. I worked at Dairy Queen,
Are
and
you about to disparage Dairy Queen?
no.
Okay, good. Because I like their food.
Oh, I do too.
Mm.
Um, chicken strips, toast, hot dogs, nacho. I like it all. But
The
the ice cream
Belt
doesn't.
Buster, the Hunger Buster.
Hmm. Even the chicken fried chicken steak basket or chicken. Yeah.
All right, it sounds like we're doing a commercial. I wish they would sponsor. Hey, Dairy Queen, sponsor us.
Anyway, again, not to say the worst. I think mine more applied to like the worst work environment. And um, I was 15. I didn't know that I could stand up for myself and tell somebody to F off. And I just thought sometimes you do what you're told to do and you make shit happen. So I'm and like I was I would work the register, but I'd also work in the kitchen area. And one evening, like someone had called in, wasn't in the best neighborhood or area of the city. So
Wait, was it in our neighborhood where we grew up?
yeah.
Okay, I know exactly how bad it was now. Go ahead.
So, you know, and when you mess with people's food, I mean, I don't care what area you live in, you don't mess with people's food. It's like
That's what I'm
messing with
talking
their
about.
money. So,
Exactly.
so I was working by myself. Um, the manager at that time was working the cashier line, and I mean, I was getting behind on the orders. I look up and there's like 5 or 6 people waiting for their food, and I'm kind of like by myself back there. And she's yelling at me. And I mean, I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I can't get this stuff cooked fast enough. I mean, seriously, I was 15 years old. And I did report her. I told on her.
Who'd you tell?
The other manager in the daytime. And I think she ended up losing her job. They let her go.
Because of
And then
you?
I don't think it was just me. I think it was a combination of other things. But I did tell. I mean, I was like, I was by myself. And then in fact, I want to say that night, Marcella was actually in the lobby ordering, waiting for food too, which was probably more embarrassing to me to be talked down to in front of,
Our Aunt
in a work of,
Marcella.
yes, her Aunt Marcella. Yep. So those two places, the trailer place and Dairy Queen.
But
I did all,
it wasn't Dairy Queen's fault.
no, 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 no,
Another
no.
Dairy Queen employee fixed the situation.
Yeah,
Okay, good. I'm just
but
trying to make sure we don't get sued.
yeah.
Because I do like Dairy
No,
Queen.
I like Dairy Queen. I mean, I told you I went the other day and got ice cream.
Oh, that's right.
And Loopy was telling me that you can even get a taco salad with no chips.
Okay, great update.
Just like it's really good. Anyway, go ahead. What's your other job?
Well, my other terrible job was at a restaurant also. It wasn't it was a chain. It was like a chicken wing place. Cause what are you doing?
I was stretching my legs.
I'm watching through Skype and all of a sudden I see my cousin's knees up in the screen and it looks like she's getting ready to give birth or something.
Sorry. Go ahead. The chicken place.
Yeah, it was like a chicken wing restaurant, not the big popular one that most people might think of, but a lesser chain. Again, it was similar to you. There one morning I was left alone. the kitchen manager left to go get some supplies that he said that we had to have that morning for whatever reason. And there was a big lunch rush, and he wasn't back yet. And I worked my ass off to get all the orders out as best as I could. Some of them got messed up a little bit. Some things got sent back, and I was upset about that because I prided myself on sending out the best possible food that I could from that kitchen.
Mhm.
It, I wasn't a manager. I was just a kitchen employee, a cook. But when I was there, I said it was my kitchen, and I wanted to make sure my kitchen was clean, and everything that came out of that kitchen was good, clean food.
Because
So
you are a germ freak. I just
I
want to
I
let the record
am,
know.
yeah. I wash my hands a lot. I was constantly changing my gloves. In fact, I developed a reaction to the latex gloves there, so I had to start wearing vinyl gloves. But that's beside the point. So this one day, when the kitchen manager came back after the lunch rush was over, it became dinner time, and we started to have a little bit of a rush. But he was doing some prep before that rush started. He was cutting up raw chicken because it was a chicken wing place.
Hmm.
So he's cutting raw chicken with a brand new knife that he got that day. He was so proud of this brand new knife. It was really sharp. It was the best knife we had. So he's cutting raw chicken, and we get an order for something, and he goes to prepare that order, and he's cutting up the pieces of food, and the second knife that he's using on the food is an old knife and it's really dull. So he's like, I want to use my new knife. So he grabs a knife full of raw chicken, goes over to the sink, and rinses it off with cold water. Then he gets a paper towel and
Mm.
dries it off. I see this through the corner of my eye, and he's heading toward the food that he's about to send out, and he's going to cut it with that knife that had raw chicken on it, but he just rinsed it off with cold water. He didn't wash it, didn't use soap, didn't use sanitizing solution. So I ran over there and I grabbed the towel out of the sanitizing solution bucket and I said, "Here, use the sanitizer. Don't forget to use the sanitizer." And as I'm turning around, I didn't wring it out, so it's dripping on the floor. And my foot steps right on the part where the liquid landed on the floor. Oh my goodness, cuz I slipped. My foot just flew out from under me. I slipped and fell. I landed right on my tailbone. It hurt so bad. I knocked over so many things. Like my feet just went up in the air and I kicked like a shelf.
Like you were about to give birth.
Kind of, yeah, almost like you. But I already had my stretch marks. But anyway, yeah, and I knocked over a bunch of stuff off the shelf and stuff, and he's looking at me. He's asking me if I'm okay, and I didn't even answer that. I'm just holding up the towel with the sanitizing solution. I was like, "Use the sanitizer, use the sanitizer." So he grabs that and cleans the knife, and I get up and I see this giant mess that I made, and oh my goodness, my tailbone is hurting so bad because I landed right on it. I don't know, I might have broken it. I'm not sure, or fractured. I don't know.
You'll find out when you're like in your 60s.
Well, no, I find out every time I try and do a sit up because I feel the pain because that's where the pressure is. But anyway, I get up, I see the mess I've made, and I'm in a lot of pain. But at least he used a sanitizer. He cuts up the food that he's sending out, and I feel safer about the situation. But anyway, I'm in a lot of pain, and it's getting time for me to get off. And I'm like, okay, I can't wait to get off so I can just get off my feet because my tailbone hurts so bad. This motherfucker comes back and he's like, hey, can you work later? So and so called in and they're not going to make it. I need you to work a few more hours. And I was so broke and desperate for the money. I worked like 10 or 11 hours that day with a busted tailbone. And it was just awful. One of the worst jobs I ever had. But I like the people I work with. It was a lot of fun. Let
Yeah,
me take
that
that back. I like some of the people I worked with. They made it a lot of fun.
yeah. There's always that one or two people that you're just like, mm. I can't go into too much detail, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. Because you work with your family.
I can relate to
No, I'm
that.
just kidding.
No, not my family, my work family. Um, yeah, I work right now for I mean, it's a religious based organization. And when I talk about some of the incidents or conversations that we have at work,
Wait, you work for a
people are,
religious based organization? Do they
yeah.
do they know how you talk in your real life?
Well,
All
that's what I was
these
about to say. All the F words and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was about to say is that when I talk about, things that go on at work or how we joke or things like, that people are like, you mean y'all work for them and that's how y'all act and that's how you talk? I'm like, we're not nuns or priests.
You're like,
I
bitch, I'm a
mean,
real
we're all
person.
we're all human beings, and even them, priests and nuns and things. I mean, they're they poop and pee, and put their clothes on just like we
Wait,
do.
are you telling me that priests poop?
They have to.
Holy shit.
That is so bad.
No, I just never thought about that. Cuz, are you okay?
Yeah, holy shit.
What?
Oh, that's too funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, cuz
But
speaking of like this, kind of duality of people with cuz I'm not the most religious person, but I do believe in God, and I struggle with my faith sometimes, but it's kind of
hmm
like what I think this show is. It's family oriented, but like from the adult perspective, because while we have our family issues that deal with parents, children, and extended relatives, stuff happens in life, and it's not always nice and clean and pretty, and
hmm
you gotta talk. Sometimes you gotta use adult language just to get it out and have that little relief.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to do that as a parent. And I always try to be positive. I think you know that because
Yeah, you're like, I am positive. I'm going to kick your ass if you don't get in there and do your work.
I do. But I mean, I don't. I guess that kind of leads us into our next topic, right?
I don't know what's the next topic.
Parenting.
What do I know about parenting?
Well, I asked you the other day
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm a parent. I've
Here,
never been a parent before,
here's what I know
and
about
I
parenting.
yeah,
Don't have kids.
I thought that was so funny. Your your parenting advice is don't have kids.
It's worked out for
Um,
me so far.
well, my thing is if you're gonna lay down and do the dirty, then you need to protect yourself.
Okay. So
As a whole.
have a gun in bed when you're having sex, just in case some shit breaks out. Is that what you mean?
Well, in this
Learn martial
neighborhood,
arts.
probably. um,
Have a release form. Have them sign it before you start doing anything, just so they can't come back later and say, "Oh no, I wasn't in my right mind." But bitch, I got your signature right here, and I
yeah,
got the video to prove it.
yeah, it's crazy. No, I know we basically we basically are images of our parents combination,
Yeah.
and whether we're fatherless or there's a father in our life, we didn't really grow up with a father figure, someone to really show us what a real father should be like.
You
So
mean what a real man should be
those
like?
right,
Is that why I have such a hard time asking a girl out on a date?
maybe,
I
but
hate
I
your
also
dad.
am a believer that everything happens for a reason. You know, I hear all these stories and things about, what men do to their kids or the mistreatment to their wives and
Well, that's not every man. Hey,
no, but I say things happen for a reason as why as maybe
oh, I
we
got
didn't
you.
have those people in our lives at the time, when we were growing up. And so, our the way we are as adults, like you and I think it's basically is how our parents or our mothers molded us.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So it's our parents' fault that we turned out so messed up.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not, there's no, this is not blaming anybody for our failures. Just kidding. We have nobody to blame but ourselves.
Well, no, that's not true. Because for a long time, I did hold. I'm sorry, I had to clear my throat, and I didn't want you to hear that because I know you have such an issue with the way I clear my throat.
Honestly, when you muted it and looking at you, I thought you were farting.
Oh, No, I would have done that on
Thought
the
you were
mic.
clearing your. I thought you were clearing your ass.
I would have done that in the mic.
Oh
Actually,
gosh.
actually, no, I wouldn't because ever since I've had my gastrointestinal issues, it's a
You can't.
crapshoot. It's a
You can't
crapshoot every
take
time I
any
fart.
chance.
No, I can't. It's a crapshoot every time I have to fart.
Oh
Pun intended.
gosh.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, our parents messed
Yeah.
us up. No, look, for a long time, I did anything that. For a long time, I think I blamed the way I was raised for some of the shortcomings I had in my life. And then one day I realized, you know what? Yeah, my mom did the best she could, and maybe in certain areas she fell short. But I can't hold her responsible for that anymore because I'm an adult, and whatever shortcomings I have now, it's my responsibility to fill that gap and make it catch up to the rest of the stuff that I am successful at or the things that I am good
Yeah.
at, or because for the most part, not 100%, but for the most part, I think I'm a pretty good person.
Yeah.
And a lot of that came from my mom. Not
Yeah.
all of it. Some of that was
Hmm.
from me. I had to take responsibility and
Hmm.
credit for, forming myself beyond the time that she raised me.
Right.
And, I think the same thing for you. I mean, your mom messed y'all up bad.
No, she did.
No, listen, look, you're only saying that because you're afraid it's going to get back to her. But the private conversation we had before this, you were telling me how much you hated her for the shit that she did to y'all. So just be honest. Let it out.
I didn't. First of all, I did not say that.
And look, I've had
Let
private
me.
conversations with your mom too. And I've tried to make her feel better. I said, look, Aunt Mary, I know you did the best you could. She was like, no, I didn't. I barely tried.
Let me go back to the beginning of the call where I said I don't want to make anybody mad,
I know.
and
I'm
I love my
joking.
family and friends.
I love my family too. And I'm just joking. None of that conversation happened, right? Wink,
Right.
wink, wink. You see, hey,
No,
cause,
it did not
cause
happen.
look at my eye. Yeah, you see what I'm doing? Eh,
No, and
okay.
I think we've talked about this before. I think, like you said, you know, at that time, and our parents did the best that they could, that they knew how to. I don't hold it against anybody. And like
I
you said,
do.
we're adults now,
No,
and
I
we.
still hold some grudges.
I don't.
No, I do.
I.
I can't wait
I
to get my mom. I can't wait to get my mom on the phone after this. I'm like, Mom, I love you so much. Thank you for everything you did for me. I love you more than Lourdes loves Monkey.
oh gosh. No, but it's I don't know. I've never been a parent before, and that's where I guess all this is going is. So
But
you
because you have
know,
3 kids, you've been a
you
parent.
know, well, each time as they grow, cause they
Yes,
do different things.
they do different
So
things.
they
Like they
do,
they do depends on what they eat. If they eat
yeah,
different things, they do different things. Is that what you're saying to me?
yeah. They act out. And for the most
All
part,
right.
and this is not just me saying as a parent for my kids, but I think for the most part, I have good kids.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
But
it scares me though.
because that bad kid is coming.
No, well, I don't know. It could be, but I don't know. But what scares me is I can see, and this is where I'm going back to our parents mold us. We're an image of them. It scares me because I can see Luis's characteristics or personalities and mine in each one of them. And some of the stuff that I struggle with him as my husband, their father, because I just have one baby daddy.
Quit bragging.
um,
Hey,
what scares me the
wait,
most
real
is that,
quick. That
go
baby
ahead.
daddy. Did you ever say this?
I seen man boobies. They were big. He also has man boobies.
Oh, stop it.
I'm joking. Well,
No,
he does.
he's
But anyway,
he's a very handsome man.
oh, thanks. I'll have to let him
You
know
could,
that.
yeah, tell
'Cause
him I
he
said
never
that.
will listen to this. Anyway,
And
but
he's so supportive too.
he, it's hard for him to communicate.
Well, that's because he
He's
doesn't
just
speak
not.
English that well.
Yes, he does. But I'm not trying to defend him.
Well, you should. He's your husband. Y'all are one year.
Well, I know, and I guess that's why I'm saying he doesn't have the. And I don't know about you. You may be different, but some men and then some women, but mostly men, they don't know how to express themselves when they have, issues with their feelings and whatever. They just get pissed off, get closed up, or they get sad and they close up, or whatever, and they don't really know how to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's how I see Luis.
I'll agree. And maybe here, this is how I see it. The only emotion that most men ever learned or are comfortable expressing is anger. So when they feel something else like sadness or confusion or hurt, it that usually comes out in some form of anger because that's what we I think even society, not just our parents, but I think that's what boys and men have been kind of conditioned to express. Like get mad and that'll help you, that'll give you the fuel, that'll give you the motivation, that'll fuel the fire to fix whatever went wrong.
When
But I'm going to interrupt you because
go
I
ahead.
wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm done. No, no, no. I I've I've kind of explored myself a lot, and I work really hard to try and express some of those other emotions. But
You cry now?
I've cried. You know what? There was one time this girl broke my heart real bad, and I couldn't express it. I tried. I really tried to cry it out, but for some reason the tears would not come. And I joked and said I was just too manly to cry. But I think deep down inside, my somewhere in my mind, I just knew that she didn't deserve my tears. But I carried that for a long time, and it made me feel bad. It was like just something inside eating away. Until one day, out of the blue, a friend of mine called me and just asked me, like, because we hadn't spoken in a long time, and he just wanted to
Hmm.
see how I was doing. And I was talking about work and stuff, and we always ask about girls because we're both single. And I told him it just all came out at once. Like I just started telling him about this girl and how I thought things were going okay, and it wasn't. And I felt like she lied to me and led me on, and it all came out. And he was like, "Wow, man, I wasn't expecting to hear all that. I just wanted to see how you were doing." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I don't know where all that came from, but you know what? I felt so much better afterwards just getting it off my chest, and I knew that like that was the relief I was looking for when I was trying to cry it out.
Hmm.
But I think honestly, I am just too manly to cry.
Well, I think
That's not
my mother.
true. That was a joke.
Oh, well, no, but I mean, the reason why I didn't think it was a joke was because um, when Luis, my son, little Luis, was little,
When he was little Luis.
when he was when he
Cuz let
was
me just
younger,
say, you have such a way with words. Your storytelling really draws you in. Cuz I'm picturing little Luis, and now I'm picturing him even littler.
he's 12 now, but when he was probably about 7 or 8,
He was littler.
he was smaller. Anyway, my mother-in-law would, if he was getting in trouble or whatever, and he would cry, she was like, los hombres no lloran, which is, means men don't cry. And I'm like, yes, they do. That's what's wrong with your son. He's got all this shit built up from years because you told him men are not supposed to cry. It's not even that they're supposed to not cry or, whatever. It's giving them that complete right to express themselves in any way that they want. Because it's hard for me to, not hard, it should, to see Luis laughing, my husband laughing. It's, it's not all the time, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. But I mean, I feel like I know he's happy with me
I hope so. Y'all been together forever.
because it will be 20 years this year.
Oh my goodness, cuz that's half your life.
I know. It's crazy.
Wait, will you be 40? You'll be 40
No,
when?
I'll be 40 next. I'll be 39 this year.
Okay, so you're 38. Y'all
Uh-huh.
been together 19 years. Y'all been together already half your life.
No, we've been together actually 21 years because we didn't get married until
Oh,
a year
shit.
later.
Damn, cuz you're getting old.
I know. I
No,
know.
I was going to ask you, all right, as a woman, how would you feel? How do you feel when you see your husband cry?
Um,
Because I'll tell you, while you're thinking about your answer, I'll tell you, as a man, we're afraid we're going to be perceived as weak. And I don't know if women of our generation perceive crying as an okay thing to do for men, but I feel like this next generation, the millennials, I don't know if they would be. I don't know how they would react to seeing men cry. I don't know if they're more open and accepting to that, or if they see it more as a weakness.
um, I don't see it as a weakness. Sometimes,
Because you've
like,
told me you've made your husband cry just from the words you use.
no, I haven't. No, but I will share something very personal. Not too long ago, we were having some drinks, and it was just the two of us in the kitchen, and it was around Father's Day, and Luis grew up also without having a dad. His dad died when he was 3 years old, and so all he had was his mom, and she dedicated like 95% of her life to work, and she did do and provide for them in probably in a much I don't know, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say she probably did it better than what she probably would have been able to give the life that they would have had, her kids would have had they had a father and the mother there. And but she was never there with them. She found time to get them, to church. Um, but as far as actual family type, sit down at the table together, have dinner, or things like that, they weren't together. She would cook and leave things prepped for them, or she would, you know, come home late, or she'd bake them a birthday cake and leave it for them. But they never had what we had as growing up as a family.
Right.
Um, so that he doesn't know that he didn't begin to know that stuff until me, or until us, our family. And so he did have a breakdown because it was around Father's Day, and he did cry, and he doesn't, and he told me he didn't know why he was crying, and I didn't see it as a weakness. I felt like he's getting stuff out of him that he's probably been carrying around for years, and he's never had a chance or felt in his life that he could get it out. um and I didn't know what to say. I was trying to think of things like, well, you know your dad could have been a really mean man or something.
No, you can't say that.
I didn't say it
Oh,
like that, but I'm just saying everything happens for a reason. And he wasn't in your life for a reason. But, you know, look at what you've done in your life, not having a father. You're hardworking, you provide for your family, you know,
well,
you're a part of us.
he is a father now. I mean,
And I did tell him that. I told him, I was like, you have an opportunity to be what you want, and to be that somebody. You have a son, you have daughters, you have a wife that
he has a
you have.
wife.
Yes, and
Poor bastard.
she's effing awesome.
Well, I'd love to meet her one day.
You should. I'm gonna invite her on the show one day.
You should let him go so he can be with that woman.
F that.
No, no, because what you're saying reminded me of. I hate to bring up another cliche or quote because I brought up a quote last time from Mark Twain. This time it's from Gandhi,
Hmm.
and you were saying that he had the chance to be what he wanted his father. What'd you say exactly a while ago?
It was like he has a chance to be what he wanted so bad in his life.
Yeah. So
He has
Gandhi's
that chance.
quote is, "Be the change you want to see in the world."
And that's what I was trying to tell him. That's perfect. But like I said, I didn't know what to tell him. And then he was kind of really getting into his feelings. I was like, get a hold of yourself.
No, see, that's what we're afraid is going to happen.
I didn't. I just kind of listened.
Did you at
I
least
let
give
him,
did you give him a hug?
yeah,
Oh,
I
good.
told him it's gonna be
Hold
okay,
his
and
hand to show
yeah,
him some affection. Okay, good.
yeah. I didn't. I mean, the last thing I ever want to do is judge or make him feel that he can't express himself.
I'll
Now, if I
remind you.
come home and he's doing this all the time, we're, we've reached another level, and I think we need to get some help. But to add on to that, I actually had a talk with his sister a few months back, and it was kind of the same way. She just was, she just let it out, and it was unexpected, and it had to do with their childhood and
Wow.
the void that they feel. And I realized we all have a void, but we also reach a point in our lives where we can't keep searching, or we can't keep hiding that, like putting it off. It's going to catch up with us sooner or later. And I think the sooner we try to deal with it, we'll be able to move on and not let things hold us back, no matter how much we say, I've moved on, I've let it go, I've forgiven, or I've this, or I've that. If, I mean, pride, I think, blinds us. And
100%.
yep.
I'm guilty of that too. I grew up without a father, and I don't think I really thought about it that much when I was younger. But
Hmm.
as I've gotten older, I've started to think more about it. I would have liked to have had some sort of relationship with my father growing up. I can't blame him anymore for whatever fears and anxiety I have when I talk to women in a romantic way, or at least with
Hmm.
romantic intentions, because
Hmm.
I'm an adult now. That's I got to get over that. I'm
Right.
awesome. Most
You
women,
are.
most women would be lucky to be with me.
They would,
Not
cuz.
all of them, but most of them. Anyway, so I fill that void sometimes too because I never learned to throw a football correctly. I don't know if my father even could throw a football, but I know he could play basketball because my brother Chalo told me that he learned how to play basketball from him. And Chalo teases me sometimes about how awesome my father was, and I know he's trying to get under my skin a little bit, but it doesn't get under my skin. I'm actually happy that my father was good to him as a kid.
Mm.
Glad he taught him how to play basketball because that's one of my brother's passions in life. He loves basketball. He's really good at it, and he's my brother is way, way, way older than I am. Like, whew, man, he is so far in his 40s. He might as well just say he's 50s. But I love him. But even at his advanced age into his mid to late 40s, he has his crow's feet and starting to get those wrinkles in his forehead.
Knee problems, back
Oh
problems.
yeah. Oh man.
List goes on and
Gray
on.
hair. His hairline is a little bit farther back than it used to be. Not a lot, but I can tell.
He's
But
trying to grow it out and cover it
yeah,
up.
yeah, because I'm his little brother. I notice all this stuff. But I don't want him to feel bad. He's still a handsome man.
Oh yeah.
He's just old as fuck.
Yeah, he's gonna end up with it.
No, brother, I love you. No, what I'm trying to get at, besides teasing my brother, is that basketball, he still plays basketball. He's still really good at it. It's one of his passions. And I'm glad that, my father had a little bit in helping give him that gift as a child. So it doesn't make me mad when he says how much fun he had with my father. It makes me feel happy that he wasn't mistreated.
Yeah. Um, I don't I was I don't know if your mom like talked about your dad or not, like for you to get to know him just through what she said. But
Every now and then, but I wouldn't say that I know him through her stories.
mhm. Well, my dad was there, but he wasn't there. He probably wasn't there as the father figure that I needed him to be. But with that, I'm fine with that. But my mom brought me up to, be a peacemaker. And I remember her saying that even when grandma was, still with us, that be peacemakers, love your family, your sisters, y'all gonna need each other, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just the type of person, cause that I don't hold grudges. I can't really be mean to people. Even if I'm pissed off, I get mad. You might feel it, see it, or sense whatever, but I can't just be up and cold and say, I'm not going to answer the phone for you, or I'm pissed off at you, whatever.
I'm the same way.
And it really sometimes puts me in a situation, especially between my mom and my dad, because um, even though they both say that they have forgiven each other, or they don't hold any type of resentment
There's
against
resentment.
it, there's resentment
Oh,
because,
for sure. You can cut it with a knife.
yeah,
That tension's so thick.
but when they're in a, like, let's say they're here together, they can talk and get along fine. Um, they will begin to throw comments and things, and before you know it, if it's funny for one, it's not funny for the other one, and then I'm like, okay, y'all break it up, like kids, chill out. And it does put me sometimes in a position where I'd rather them not be in the same room
Well,
together.
cuz you know why they do that?
Why?
They're still in love with each other.
You know, there has to be something there. I mean, who does that? I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, my dad has made comments that, he would leave his wife right now if my mom said, "Okay, I'll come back to you," whatever, whatever.
Oh shit,
And
I was joking.
and I've seen, my mom will say one thing, but I mean, like I said, I don't want to make anybody mad. I love my family and my friends. And I've seen the behavior in person, but then, like, I guess I've 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 seen it. It's not what it's made out to be. Like, I can see them laughing and talking and getting along great, and then later on, I hear that it was awful and the memories, and she hates them and this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, the best thing is just to not get these people together.
Yeah, well
The
maybe
best thing is not to talk about him or what's going on. And it that puts me in a position where I'm like, I mean, I'm not gonna pick and choose, but again, I don't look at my dad and say, oh, he's the greatest dad in the world. No, I look at my dad as the dad that God made me from, the mother that God made me from. And I don't, I try not to disrespect either one of them. I don't talk to my dad all the time. He doesn't come over all the time. And I feel like I have to, like, explain myself or give some type of clarification, because I think the perception that is perceived from other people is that I hold my dad on a pedestal. But I will not tolerate my dad talking about my mom, and I don't want to hear my mom talking negatively about my dad, because I'm made from both of them,
yeah.
and I'm not picking one over the other. It's just, it really puts, I didn't ask for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you didn't ask for those parents.
No, that's just who God blessed me with. And
Oh.
if I say as a blessing, because I'm able to say, when Luis was talking about that stuff, I'm able to say, gosh, you know, there's a lot of fathers out there and mothers that, you know, they didn't treat. My mom was there. My dad was, but he wasn't there. I know my mom struggled, but we all struggle. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I just can't. I don't know. Anyway, their parenting has now messed up my parenting. I'm
I
joking.
knew it.
I'm joking. I'm so joking.
Well, no. All right, because that I have a
That was a
comment, a
joke.
question, and a story. All right,
Okay.
so I was joking when I said that they're still in love with each other. Maybe they are. There might be some feeling left over. I mean, because look, they had how many kids did they have together?
Um, three, but my dad is listed on Andrea's birth
Okay,
certificate
so
as her dad.
three and a
So
half kids, three and a half
yeah.
beautiful children who grew up to be three and a half beautiful people.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's that memory there, but maybe they're not still in love with each other, but maybe when they were in love with each other, whatever came between them that caused them to get a divorce, maybe that was so painful
Mm-hmm.
that even though they say they're over it, that pain still hurts. It still comes
Mm-hmm.
back some. So maybe that's why they can laugh and talk, but deep down inside, they're still hurting from whatever that was, that rift that came between them.
That makes sense.
I'm guessing. I'm playing pop psychologist here.
Yeah.
My question is, how'd your dad do on a spelling test?
I don't think he passed.
Now, remember last week you were talking about he was calling you
The
the
Oh
papers,
yeah, yeah.
and I said, is it his spelling homework?
Well,
Anyway,
it's kind of crazy because I he called and I told him, come by whatever date, and he didn't come. And then I told him I was going out of town, and I haven't heard from him since. I probably need to call and check on him.
yeah, and give him a spelling homework.
Yeah.
Now, the story I have was you said that you won't tolerate um, him talking bad about your mom. Well, this reminds me of a long time ago after they'd split up. He'd gone to pick up your brother's playhouse from your mom's house.
Hmm.
And for some reason, I don't know how I got recruited to help, but I had to help him. And he got mad when he went to pick it up because your mom had her new boyfriend there with them. And he was talking about how, he respects my mom because she never did stuff like that. And he was talking about your mom. And I was telling your mom this
Hmm.
story after it had happened because I thought she should know.
Hmm.
And your mom, as loving as she is, jumped to a conclusion that pissed me off and has stayed with me this whole time, all these years, from that young teenage boy to this nearly 40-year-old man. Before I finished my story, she said, "And what did you do? Just sit there? The men in this family have no balls." And I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even finish my
Oh
story.
my god.
And the story I took up from my aunt. I told him not to talk that way in front of me because I love my aunt and I won't let anyone talk bad about her when she's not there to defend herself. I'm like, son of a bitch, here I am defending you, and you think I have no balls. I should have popped them out because I already had hair on them then.
Bro.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Aunt Mary, for thinking I'm a ballless man. You see how hairy my face is, cuz.
Oh
Look at his
gosh.
beard.
No,
Imagine his beard about 2.5 feet lower.
my son is like super hairy.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
yes. So
Does he have a
I
hairy
feel you
back?
there.
Is his back hairy?
No.
Oh.
Well, just at the bottom,
Oh, okay.
that little section.
Yeah. So thank you,
But
Aunt
he's got a
Mary.
hairy stomach and stuff.
Oh yeah. So do I. My chest is so hairy it covers my back and my ass too. What? I'm very masculine. I just have so much
I know,
testosterone.
but your man boobs don't have hair on them.
What? Look at this.
No, please
Uh,
don't. Oh, anyway.
I seen
Now,
man boobies. They were big.
and hairy.
no, I know what you're saying. I had my dad would when he first started calling again
Hey,
because
when he called, did it sound like this?
sometimes I feel like that because my dad thinks he has the answer and solution to fix every single problem,
That's
even when
that.
there's not a problem.
That's that Latino machismo.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I had to tell him too. It's like, you know what? I felt like I was going crazy. I'm like, you call me, I answer, and
What do
I
he call
talk to
you?
you. He would call me like freaking at the crack of dawn to see what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm doing what any normal 30-year-old person would be doing. I'm asleep.
I'm grading your spelling homework.
And I finally had to get rough with him and like tell him, look, you call me because you want to talk to me. How you doing? What's going on in life? Blah 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 blah. I don't want to talk to you or hear your opinion of anything else, whether it's my mom, whether it's another issue of other people. I don't want to hear it. And a couple of times, speaking of men and their feelings, um, I seen my dad cry, and he cried and asked me to forgive him for whatever it was that he's done. And that was probably his oldest daughter right now is 16. So probably about 14, 12, somewhere between 12, a little over 10 years. That happened a little over 10 years ago. And that's when that's where I felt like I couldn't be mean. Not that I was trying to be mean, but
When he asked
I
you
felt like he sincerely asked me to forgive him.
when he asked you for forgiveness, did that scare you at all?
Um, I didn't see him as, I mean, I knew he was my dad, obviously. And it just, I think it opened a different part of my mind, heart, whatever. Um, but I felt it humbled me. I don't know how or why.
Well, the reason I
Uh,
ask is because mom did the same thing to Chalo and me
mhm,
separately, but it scared me because my mom is an older woman and she has health issues, and I know that your dad has had his own health issues.
mhm.
So when she was calling to ask for forgiveness, I felt like, well, one, I mean, I forgave her. I don't hold anything against her.
That's not what you said earlier. I'm
That's a
joking.
private conversation because you need to shut your mouth right now.
I'm
The
joking.
only thing I hold against
Okay.
my mother is my chest when I hug her tightly to it and say, "Mom, I love you. Thank you for everything you've ever done for me."
Or
Now,
washing my clothes.
shut. I was about to say, now here's a bag of laundry. Can you help me? No, no, no. But seriously, when she called me, it surprised me because I felt like we had already kind of talked over some of this stuff.
Mhm.
But it scared me too because I thought, well, shit, maybe my mom has gotten some bad news and she just wants to make sure that her soul is ready. This has already been like a year, maybe 2 years ago, sometime
Mhm.
within the past couple of years. There's been some time, and it made me start thinking about, all right, my mom might not be here for much longer, and it made me sad.
Yeah.
But I don't want her to think that I have any kind of anger or resentment towards her. If I ever
Yeah.
do, if ever there's any, it's
In the moment type.
yeah, it's like it passes because it was like,
Yeah.
hey, look, I know, like in that moment I might be angry for a little bit,
Mhm.
but I come to the realization that it's over and done with. It's nothing to hold against her.
Right. No, I agree. I get this. I mean, the same thing because, I mean, would you not love them? You know, not need
I
them?
do. I know you don't because you told me in that same private conversation.
No, I mean, it's sad. I mean, you see, I mean, right now with Marcella and, you know, I know Julie has shared some things, with me that hasn't, they're not things that make you feel good as a daughter.
Right.
But I've always told her, our parents love us the way they know how to love, the way that they were taught to love, that, whether it's through food, whether it's through trying to give us things, whether it's to, buying or just simple, I don't know.
I tell my mom every year, you don't have to get me a Christmas present. You're retired. I don't need anything. But yet
Right.
she insists on still buying me stuff.
Because that was like Gloria. I mean, she was trying to give people things and she was strapped, she was sick. And I don't think they realized that. It's not that we're, I'd rather you, draw me something, make me something, not like food, but pass down something that is something not valuable, something I can go pawn, something I can
Give
go
me something worth a
pawn.
lot of money that you don't have to spend a lot of money on now. You could have spent a lot of money on it back in the past when you had money. That's what I want.
No, you know what I
No, I know
mean.
something of like sentimental value.
Yeah,
Give
and
me your
then
favorite
again,
thing that you can't live without. That'll make me feel good.
the
No,
gift of just being together, I think is good.
yeah,
But I think it's anyway. Go ahead.
no, no, no. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm now to a point in my life where I realize that material things don't bring you happiness, and I'm a little bit guilty of this too because I want to give my nieces and nephews good presents for Christmas because they're still young. they might. I think they realize that, you know, a better present doesn't mean that I love you more. Because I mean, when I went back to school, there were so many years that I couldn't even give a present,
Hmm.
and I would apologize. I felt terrible, but I mean, I hope they understand that I still love them. I think they do.
Yeah, I
And
totally
yeah,
disagree with that.
you don't think that they love me or know that I love them?
No, I mean, I disagree with giving kids expensive gifts.
I know because you have three kids, and I remember several times we talked around Christmas time, and you told me what was on their Christmas list, and I was just thinking, holy smokes, man, that's like $700 for each kid. That's a $2,000 Christmas for three kids, and that's not even including the present that you want to buy for your parents, your husband, your favorite cousin, who one day you'll do a podcast with.
Because I'm not talking about my kids. I'm talking about the other kids in the family.
Oh
I don't
no,
really
now
give my
granted,
kids a lot of gifts.
well, no, you didn't buy them what was on their list because it was just ridiculously
Right, yeah.
expensive. But I remember you telling me that, and I was thinking, okay, this is a regular kids list now. They want iPhones, iPads, you know,
Game
MacBooks.
systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
I just
usually,
and I told you, hey, look, cuz if you want to give them a good Christmas, you have to sell one of them.
yeah.
That was my parenting advice back then because you had already broken rule number one: don't have kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I get sometimes looked down on, I guess, when I do give my kids an expensive gift or they do good in school. It's not because I'm trying to reward them. I'm just saying that, when you do good, there is a reward. And that, whether that's, a gift, don't always look at it as it being a gift, but you're working towards something good.
Yeah, you have to have a
It's,
goal.
yeah. And not that I mean, yes, it's automatic. You go to school to learn and do good. But if I see that you're working hard, because I know how hard it is, then I want to give you some support or motivation.
Right.
And how I do that, if I want to give them an expensive gift and God blesses me with the abilities that we can, then I'm going to do it.
Absolutely.
To each his own. They got their own kids. They can give them and do what they want.
Yeah, you
But
know what I always say? To each his own with provolone.
yeah, I like provolone.
Yeah, I stole that from a radio show I listened to.
Oh, I'm supposed to take my mother-in-law to her sister's at 10,
Oh, what time is it?
10:30.
Okay. It's 10:30 for real?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have time for one more thing?
Yeah. She can wait.
Damn, that's mean. No, you told me that your mother-in-law has an amazing memory. Not a good short-term memory, but she can remember stuff from way back when, like very detailed.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking about that, and I think I figured out what's going on.
She's got psychic powers or
No,
like
no, you weren't there when that stuff happened. She's just making it up on the spot.
I thought about that too. Like, I don't know this is true.
Yeah.
You're
No.
probably lying this whole time.
Yeah. Damn, did you say your mother-in-law's a liar?
No, she's so gosh.
She's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. It's so funny. Yesterday we were leaving to go see Marcel at the hospital, and my mother-in-law uses a cane when she leaves the house. So all throughout the day, she is like sweeping, she's fixing the beds, she's, finding something to do without her cane. She comes up and down the steps from the kitchen to the living room and, with no cane. Yesterday, I tell her, we're going to go see Marcella, be ready. Okay. We're leaving, and she gets her cane, and she can barely walk down the steps from the living room to the kitchen. Or, I'm sorry, from the kitchen to the living room. And I'm thinking, how the hell do you walk all day long? You take out trash, you go water stuff, and you don't have your cane. But we're leaving, and you can't walk down the steps. And so I tell her, I'm like, and she's having even a hard time getting out at the front door. And I'm thinking, She's like, well, I need my cane because sometimes I lose my balance. And I'm thinking, I looked at her and I was like, I'm sure she thinks I'm like the biggest biatch, but
Well, I'm thinking that right now.
I look at her and I'm like, do you use your cane to take out the trash? And she looks at me, she just busts out laughing. She's like, no. I'm like, then why are you
She's
trying to
like,
use it?
no, stupid. Who uses a cane to take out the trash? You're so dumb. Why would you say that, dummy?
I was like, you have the hardest time coming down the steps with your cane, and even trying to get out the front door, you can't. You're gonna hurt yourself just using your cane. Well, when I leave, and I'm like, don't try to use it. Just carry it in your hand, and when you're walking a good distance, or when we get to where we need, use your cane. She
Cause,
just starts laughing, and I'm like, it's not funny.
cause how old is your mother-in-law?
She's from 39, so she's 78. She'll be 78 this year.
Cut her some slack.
I do. I'm telling it like that, but that's not exactly how I sound.
I've been around you when you've dealt with your in-laws. I'm pretty sure you're making yourself sound a lot nicer than it actually happened. Just
Cause
cut her some slack, man.
right.
She's been around for a long time.
Yeah, she'll be 78 this year.
She deserves to walk with whatever she needs to walk with.
It's not that I don't want her to walk with her.
You
Like,
want her to fall down the stairs.
no, I don't. That's what I don't want to happen. And I feel like if you don't tell her in a serious, stern way, or even I'm trying to joke, but I know she knows I'm not joking, I'm afraid she's going to hurt herself. I'm like it's not clicking in her head that, okay, wait, I've walked through this house, up and down these steps 50 times today. Not once did I have my cane. And now I'm using my cane and I'm having trouble.
She'll
I
figure it
walked out
out.
the front door several times. Fine. But now I have my cane and I can't seem to get out. You should have seen her.
Damn, cuz you're so fucking mean.
I was like,
All right.
I just, like she's holding on to the storm door and the inside of the door, and like she's trying to figure out how to get down while she's holding her cane.
I don't know. Why don't you try and give her a helping hand?
I have to tell her to give me the damn cane.
Oh my goodness, cuz you're so mean. Okay.
I'm not mean. Anyway,
I think this is a good ending spot for today's.
Okay.
Hey, this is our 10th episode. Happy 10th episode anniversary. Listen, if you're listening and you enjoy this number 2 podcast, please go on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, leave a review. It would be so helpful for us.
Yes, it will.
Thanks for your support, cuz.
I am, cuz I'm all for it.
Did you leave a review?
Not yet.
How about your kids?
They weren't home. Isabel has a boyfriend. We need to talk about that next time.
Yeah, next time. We need to talk about what your kids think about you doing a podcast too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I guess it's time to go.
Yep.
Goodbye.
It's that time.
Now, I know you wrote some lyrics during the show, so go ahead and read them off now.
Well, now it's time to say goodbye to the number 2 podcast.
Those were
No
such
lyrics.
great lyrics. I'm glad you took an hour of the show to write those and sing really well with the tempo and melody of this ending song. And we're gonna say goodbye now. So goodbye to you and thanks.
You. No lyrics.
Thanks.
Goodbye. No lyrics.
Thank you for listening to the number 2 podcast, and we're gonna say goodbye to you and to your family from ours. We love you. Thanks for listening. And I
I don't want to make anybody mad.
I think you'll be okay, cuz.
I love my
I love my family too. It's a good show. Come on, sing it. Goodbye. No lyrics on the Number 2 podcast. Goodbye and thank you for listening to us ramble. I'm out of lyrics, cuz.
I know. I think we should just call it quits right now.
Yeah,
And it goes.
that's nice.